Welcome to the How to Podcast series. This is Dave with some new music. We're going to go behind the mic, you and I. You ready? There you go. So welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. We're going to do a little mini-series called Behind the Mic. A bunch of episodes in a row, all under this umbrella. And we're going to take you behind the mic and give you some really practical tools that you can use in your podcast and in your journey as a podcaster. And maybe help you just do your show just a little bit better with some insight for you to hopefully encourage you in all of this. So thank you for being here. What I want to do with this little mini-series is also feature some of the things that are happening over in our meetup group. So I'm going to bring in voices from our meetup group, people who attend our meetups, some of the most amazing podcasters you'll ever meet. If you want to meet them virtually in person, is that a thing? Virtually in person? Then come and check us out. And here's a little clip from Jonathan as he talks about what happens in the meetups from his point of view. I'll let Jonathan speak for himself, but here's Jonathan from our meetup group.
Hey, this is Jonathan. I am one of the people who usually attend the Saturday session for the How to Podcast meetup group. And I just wanted to encourage anyone listening, if you are on the lookout for finding somewhere to come talk about podcast things with other podcast nerds, this is a good place to check out. I know locally I've tried to go to some things, and what usually has happened, unfortunately, is it turns out to be like a sneaky way for people to market something at you. And it's like, all right, I wanted to just learn and share stuff. And this is a place to do that. And it's remote and it's free. So like, I don't know what the downside is, right? Yeah, there you go. That pretty much says it all. People got a good range of experience. You're going to get some good perspectives on things, or at least some different ones to make you think about your approach to podcasting. And again, whether you haven't hit publish yet on the first episode or whether you're years in, it doesn't matter. I think you'll find some value, and I'd encourage you to come check it out. You'll see me there and plenty of other folks who have a lot of good experience to share as well.
Thanks, Jonathan. Glad to have you part of our meetup. He's a great resource, very encouraging, very supportive. So if you're podcasting alone and you're thinking, man, it would be nice if I had someone else that I could talk podcasting with. When I tell my partner or my kids or my coworkers about what I do as a podcaster, their eyes roll back in their head. They seem to wander off. You can see in their eyes, they're just gone. Imagine a place where I can talk to other podcasters and we can talk podcasting, and I could have a community that I don't think anybody should podcast alone. That's really my big thing, I think, in 2025 is nobody should podcast alone. Please come and be a part of our meetup. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And you can meet Jonathan. He's super cool. He's a great guy. And I'm sure he'd like to meet you as well. So head over to howtopodcast.ca. Shameless plug out of the way. And again, we'll bring in some more voices from our meetups for you to hear and kind of experience what it would like to be part of our meetups. Always welcome. Come anytime. Happy to have you there. Let's go. Behind the Mic series, we're going to look today at how to be real and relatable as a podcaster. I'm excited for you to be here and we can talk about this. See, likability is crucial in podcasting because it determines whether your audience will stay. Will they also stay engaged as well? And will they come back to listen to you again? As host of a podcast who are likable, we create a stronger connection with our listeners, and we transform casual audience listeners into real, true, loyal fans. So there's some key aspects to podcast likability. I want you to be liked. Don't you want to be liked? I want to be liked. There's a few things under this that I want to talk to you about. The first is about being authentic. One of the most fundamental traits of a likable podcast host is authenticity. See, listeners want to hear the real you, not the Sunday you, and not the overly, very specific you who talks in a way that you never do around the table. Like this animated persona, this radio-friendly, welcome to the podcast. This kind of stuff that happens, I hear so many fake-sounding podcasters who just put on this, I don't know if it's because they're just intimidated or they don't feel like their voice on its own has merit. They feel like they have to be somebody else and replicate someone else. I hear people that sound like a Southern Baptist preacher. All of a sudden, they start enunciating in a way when they talk about their podcast, and they do all this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? Why do you... I talked to you before, and you don't sound like that. Why are you talking like that? And in that moment, you lose a little bit of authenticity because it feels like you're putting on a show. Okay. Now, for me, I got to tell you something. I'm a super shy, introverted, quiet guy. May not sound like it sometimes, but that's me. I know that I have to turn up the Dave dial just a little bit when I come to podcasting. Otherwise, either this would be a sleep podcast, and right now you'd be out. Because Dave is kind of quiet and subdued, and yeah, I'm just not that entertaining in real life. But on podcasts, I know I have to turn it up just a little bit so I can keep you engaged. And I have to be a little bit more Dave than my kind of resting state Dave. So I know, without being fake, that I have to turn it up just a little bit. So I'm not telling you to be boring, but I'm telling you not to be so over the top that you're no longer real. And I think in podcasting, we need more people to be real. Our listeners are yearning for a real companion who's real. And if they met you in real life, you're the same person that you are on the microphone. So with a couple dials up for Dave on the Dave dial, it's me. This is who I am. And if we met, this is how we would talk to each other. Okay. So your audience is looking for somebody real, not manufactured. No fake persona. As one source notes, you just being you is what makes an audience like you and makes your show more memorable. Your unique quirks, your genuine personality, these are all things that will truly attract your core listenership and will separate the people who love you from the people who are just there and may or may not really care about you or your show. A likable host goes beyond just delivering content. Okay, they create an emotional experience. The key in all of this is to make sure your audience feels something, whether it's laughter, inspiration, empathy. One podcast expert highlighted, if you can make somebody laugh or cry, then you're going to go viral because there's a human connection that's happening in real time from listener to host. And I don't think as young podcasters, new podcasters just starting out, you really comprehend how connected your audience will become over time to your voice, to you as a person. They'll know all your stories. They'll know all your struggles. And there's a relationship built. Again, even if they've never met you in person, there's a deep relationship. You're not going to get this with your TikTok dancers. You're not going to get this with your YouTuber. This is going to be something different in podcasting when you can have a relationship with your listener that goes beyond a stat, beyond an analytic, beyond a download. You have a really true relationship with your audience. That comes from being a likable host. So my question to you, are you likable? Do people like to listen to you? Do people like you as a person? Or are you loud, boisterous, annoying? Do you push people away? Do you make like inappropriate comments on your podcast just because you want to be blue? Like why would you do that? Why would you turn people away? And why would you make it so that people would not recommend your show? Simply because you're a loose cannon and we never know what's going to come out of your mouth next. Remember, your audience is showing up for you. Now, if you're going to do a comedy podcast and it's all blue, then awesome. Then do it and do a great job of it because your audience will find you. They'll love you. They'll love your humor. But don't mix it and send a mixed message and do something else that's completely different and then complain that your audiences are getting smaller because an audience that comes to you for one thing gets a totally different experience will probably not come back. So pick your lane and go all in on whatever it is for you. If you're going to have blue comedy, then go blue, go navy blue in your comedy, right? Forget the baby blue, go navy blue. But if you're doing something different, if it's a business podcast and you're helping people with real estate, you being blue is not going to make you any more attractive, okay? You might be more of an embarrassment. You need to be authentic and not manufactured, okay? Not a bunch of pieces that are put on, bolted onto you to make you you. Drop all those things. Just be you. And by being you, I can guarantee you that no one else will sound like you because you, pause for effect, are the only you. There's nobody else like you. I can't do your show, and you can't do this show. You can do your show and be completely you and rest in that. You have a powerful voice. And you might feel like you're meek and quiet like me, but a podcast is going to help you develop that voice, find your voice, and share your voice. So some practical strategies for how to be more likable as a podcaster. All right, you ready? Here we go. The big title here, passion and approachability. You're going to be liked, but you also have to have passion for your topic and be approachable. Okay, 4 things. Number 1, be passionate about your content. Be all in. Okay, I wake up with ideas to come and talk to you about every day, all the time. I have a box beside me on the floor of cardboard, little pieces of cardboard, because where I work, it's kind of like a warehouse setting, and cardboard's everywhere. So as I'm listening to podcasts, as I'm listening to audiobooks and music, whatever, ideas flood my mind of things that I would love to come and talk to you about. So do I trust my memory? Not at my age. I write it down on a piece of cardboard, and I just reach in and randomly pull out a piece of cardboard, and here we go. So it's right beside me on my left on the floor, and I can grab it anytime I want. So it's there. So I have so many ideas about this content and how to help you and what I'd like to talk to you about and how I can support you. I'm really passionate about this podcast. So be passionate. The next one is to use warm body language. Now I know if you're not doing video, warm body language is very hard to translate through a microphone into your ears, but you will feel the excitement behind my voice instead of being very monotone. And my voice never goes up or down. I just do the thing. I just read from a script. And there we go. And then sometimes I go podcasting, right? So you need to have warm body language and it needs to come through the mic. I talked about this before. Smile when you sing. It's one of the things we talk about when we're recording in the studio, my music background. When you smile when you sing, you can hear a smile. It's true. It's true. And it works. Smile when you talk. I'm smiling right now. Do you feel it? There. Everything kind of raises a little bit. It's very important. And on that again, just to reiterate, smile and appear open to interaction. Now, this is one thing I don't do well in public. I'm the guy in the corner looking at my phone. Why? Is it because I'm bored and I don't want to talk to you? Nope. Is it because I'm kind of uptight or I think I'm better than you? Nope. It's because I'm nervous and I don't like big crowds. So I'm the guy in the corner. But if you came and sat down with me, we'd have the best conversation ever. So I kind of need people to make the first step towards me in a public setting because I'm probably not going to do it. Just so you know. That's who I am. I'm trying to get better. I'm not using it as an excuse, but that's Dave. That's really Dave. So I need to smile in public and appear open to interaction. And I do it through my podcast as well, even when I'm by myself, like this right now. And then also treat your audience as equals. Oh my gosh, this is so important. So many podcasts that I listen to, whether it's in business and finance and coaching and authorship and how to podcast, there's so many podcasts out there where the podcaster is on the mountaintop looking down at us mere mortals and unveiling the truth of their wisdom and knowledge because they've attained some high goal. I'm an 8, 9, 10 figure person, whatever, right? And they just kind of bestowing on us their wisdom and knowledge. Oh, thank you. Oh, great leader. I think we need to show up to our audience as if we're talking to our equal. Yes, we need to be slightly ahead and knowing and understanding and bring great content, but don't lord over your listeners and make them subject to you and you're the boss, they're the follower. I think we're all in this together. My challenge for you in your podcast, when you record your next episode, think of your listener not as somebody that needs your wisdom, but somebody who needs your friendship. Somebody who's just like you. That's why I say when you create your podcast, to create a podcast for yourself. Create a podcast that you would listen to about the things that you're interested in. And talk to the person as if they're on your level, not like they're below you. Talk to your audience as equals. Another big component under practical strategies for likability, we talked about passion and approachability. The next thing that we talk about often on this show, and you probably hear it on other shows, is storytelling. So a great book on storytelling, Matthew Dick's, called Storyworthy. Great book. I like the audio version because I like to do other things. Well, I'm not a sit down and read paper book type guy. I'm kind of moving all the time, so audiobooks follow me around and they're quite easy. I'll put a link for you for Storyworthy by Matthew Dix in the notes. But I would encourage you to listen to the audiobook, or if you like paper books, have at it. But storytelling is such a powerful tool of connection for you and your audience, and something that I think you need to lean into as you focus on being real and relatable to your audience. A great host uses stories to persuade, influence, and encourage listeners to go a little deeper, to get beyond the surface conversations. By sharing personal narratives, you make your content more relatable and more memorable. I hope in all of the episodes you've heard so far that you feel that from me as a host. If this is your first time here, you have a lot of things to listen to, and I'm so glad you're here. And I just love to kind of spend some time with you. So reach out anytime at howtopodcast.ca. But I just find that sharing personal stories not only grounds you to your listener, but your listener can then put themselves into your story and put it into their context, through their eyes, through their lived experience, based on what you're sharing in your story. It brings us together and builds a bond. So what is the impact of being likable? Like why, Dave, why is this so important in podcasting? So when I look at the research around likability, it really isn't just a nice to have, cool if you got it. If you don't have it, no biggie. It's actually fundamental to success in what you do in podcasting. Without likability, podcasters will struggle to get their voice heard, which can limit both your personal and professional opportunities. Interesting, even technical aspects like audio quality can influence perceived likability. Did you know that just the sound of your podcast has an influence? Have you put any thought into that? Are you recording in the worst possible environment and it sounds really hard to distinguish what you're saying because of the background noise or how your voice is captured? Maybe we can help you with that. I'd love to talk to you. Simply making your podcast sound better will make you more likable. I know. Earth-shattering, right? A 2018 study found that poor audio can make listeners perceive a speaker as less intelligent and less likable. Remember, your audience comes here to the podcast for the content, but they stay because of your mic? No, they stay because of you, the host. Your warmth, your authenticity, and your ability to connect with them will transform listeners into that deep, loyal community. So, from behind the mic, how to become more real and relatable? You need to lean in on your authentic voice. You need to lean in on connecting with your listeners in a more emotional way, beyond just facts and figures and stats and reading from a script. You need to connect with them emotionally. You got to help them with by demonstrating your passion and your approachability that you're a real person and you really care about your topic. You're going to leverage storytelling. You're going to really get in and use a story to help shape the content that you're sharing with your audience. And you're going to do some things that are going to make your podcast better simply by how you record, how you prepare, how you speak on the mic. All of these things are going to come over time. So if you're brand new at this, you don't even have your show out yet, you're just starting, welcome to the club. You have a lot to learn, and you're going to learn and find your voice in the process. Reading about it, studying about it, going to gurus, taking courses after courses after courses, listening to podcast after podcast after podcast. Great information, but you're going to get so overwhelmed with information, you're never going to hit record. And the only way to become a podcaster is to record a podcast. That's how it works. The only way to become a skydiver is to jump out of the plane. The only way to be a bungee jumper is to 3, 2, 1, go. The only way to learn how to drive a car is to get behind the wheel and make mistakes. Figure it out. And the only way to podcast is to hit record and put it out to the world. Get feedback, make changes, adjust, learn, practice, and then do it again. And do that again. And repeat it over and over and over until you find your voice, your community self-identifies, the feedback loop begins, and your community starts to grow. That's how it happens. It's not going to happen in 5 episodes. It's going to happen over years. Years of podcasting. So don't look for the fast lane. Don't look to skip the line. Find your path. Find a community. And like we talk about our meetups, get into a community of other podcasters who love you, care for you, will support you. They'll challenge you. They'll be like, hey, have you done the podcast yet? No, I'm going to read 5 more books. No. Stop reading all the books. You have enough information to go. And you have a team of people who love you and support you through our meetups. You have this show. You have other shows about podcasting. You have way more information than you'll ever need. It's time to hit record. It's time to show up, be real and relatable, because that's the one thing that you can do that no one else can do like you can, because you are you. And we need your voice in podcasting. We need all of these different voices in podcasting. Please, if you need help, reach out. I would love to talk to you anytime. All through howtopodcast.ca. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the show. And we'll catch you on the next one as we continue to go behind the mic. More episodes coming up. So glad to have you here. Thank you for making time to do this and listen to the show. Thank you for pressing play. I really appreciate it. We'll talk soon. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show. Tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series. because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon.